the head of an outstanding organization such as the Friends. So it's really an investment, but most of all, parks contribute to their emotional, intellectual, and certainly their physical well-being. So it seems to me that one of the greatest accomplishments as a nation is that we have come to recognize that our legacy is about learning and teaching, helping our youth find a better life and a better place. My friends, I would find it inconceivable that any park at the local, state, or national level would not have a program or activity geared towards involvement of our youth in conservation and recreation. Parks are indeed places of learning. Parks should provide opportunities to awaken the potential in all of our young people to become outstanding stewards, indeed, outstanding citizens. But parks, I think, offer opportunities for our young people as well as our adults to respect themselves, to respect their fellow citizen, to respect the other species that inhabit this fragile place that we call Earth. We must, in the words of Dr. Mary McCarver Thune, always, always encourage our youth never to lose the zeal for building a better world. Let me offer from our experiences some views about those factors or ingredients or considerations that we have determined as being fundamental to the success of partnerships. And I must tell you the origin of many of these suggestions come from a distinguished former superintendent, late former superintendent in the National Park Service, Brian O'Neill, superintendent of Golden Gate National Recreation Area in San Francisco, California. And let me just share with you 9 of those principles. As you're considering partnerships and you're going to a company or you're going to a foundation or to a friends group as a park manager, first of all, you should focus on important needs. 2, you must make partnerships a win-win, that everyone comes to the table with something, everyone will leave the table feeling good that they are contributing towards a mutual goal. In other words, number 3, adopt a shared vision. And yes, we all like to have a handshake or a wink of the eye, but you need to negotiate a formal agreement so that there is some clarity in the communications and understanding as to what are the obligation responsibility for each partner. Ensure effective and open communications. Ensure that the partnership is owned by your entire organization. This is critical, as I have personally experienced, and I'm sure my colleagues in the Park Service and you, that while the manager or the commissioner may negotiate a partnership, if the organization is, in terms of maintenance employee or the park ranger, if they have no appreciation for it, it diminishes the effectiveness of a partnership. So when a partnership is developed, the organization should be supportive of that. And we've had some horror stories in which people have said, you know, I'm going to talk to my congressman about this partnership because I think it's inconsistent with what the Park Service should be doing. So everyone needs to be on board when that partnership is developed. Established and maintain an environment of trust, Understand each partner's mission and organizational culture. And lastly, for this purpose, honor your commitments. Honor your commitments. Too many, at least initial partnerships, have gone down the tube because someone slacked on their commitment. These are just some ideas and considerations when you're looking at partnerships. One of my fellow panelists spoke of Dr. John Crompton, a distinguished professor at Texas A&M University, where I was teaching prior to coming back to the administration. And I would just briefly recommend to you a highly acclaimed book that outlines some of the particulars. And the book is Community Benefits and Repositioning, the Keys to Parks Recreation Future Viability. It is an outstanding bit of literature based on a great deal of research. I would just recommend that book to you. Let me close with a couple of other observations as you consider partnerships. Again, I would mention very specifically, have a plan. Have a plan, and have that plan clear just in terms of what you want to have that park look like, feel like, smell like, and being able to convey that to a prospective donor. But more importantly, perhaps, invite input from the public in development of a plan. I don't know what is the requirements at the local or the state level, but at the federal level, by law, Mr. Superintendent, by law, every park is required to have a management plan. Furthermore, under the National Environmental Policy Act, NEPA, if you will, the public, by law, is invited to input into the development of that plan. And sometimes, you know, that creates some heartburn, but you got to love the public, you know that. But have a plan, have a plan. Lastly, those of you who have embraced the noble cause of parks and recreation, you have adopted a cause beyond yourselves. You are contributing to the viability of future generation. And certainly that is noble. I would hope that you would look at your federal government as being a partner in that cause. Again, as Governor Dukakis mentioned, I had the distinct honor and privilege of being recruited by Secretary then Stuart Udall, who was appointed by a 43-year-old president, and he was a 41-year-old congressman, perhaps became one of the most revered conservationists. He left us all too soon at the tender age of 90 in April. Shortly thereafter, Congress passed legislation signed into law. On September the 21st of last month, we had a major ceremony there at Interior, celebrating the life and legacy of Stuart Lee Udall, but also to unveil a plaque that reflect the laws, the legislation signed in law by President Obama. Governor, I now work at the Stuart Lee Udall United States Department of Interior building, formally named by law in his honor. But I would want to salute you in the words of the young president, born in Brookline, Massachusetts, who made this observation, and I will just salute you in those words. I am certain that when the dust of centuries has passed over our cities, we too will be remembered, not for our victories or defeats in battles or in politics, but rather, my friends, for our contributions to the human spirit. John F. Kennedy. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your contributions.